Last episode was a bit of a bummer, but had some good stuff in terms of writing, not in terms of the events. Yeah, Cocytus and Mare are about to wipe out the army, and then we're gonna destroy an entire kingdom. Let's go.
We've lost all contact with the Royal Army, and none of the messengers we've sent to the battlefield have returned.
Already, huh?
Zanak's whereabouts are also unknown.
My poor foolish boy. You had to follow your brother.
How the fuck was he the foolish one? You were the one who thought offering your head was gonna solve something. Not only does that give them an insane amount of power over your kingdom, but it throws your own kingdom into disarray. Zanak sought peace pretty strongly. Like, he did the best he reasonably could. What was the other one? Barnabas? He just tried to enslave a town that Ainz had connections to. Zanak actually tried to negotiate for peace and spare his kingdom from, being completely destroyed. Foolish, sure. Whatever you say, man. I feel like starting with around 2020, we've started to get some of the most unique sounding anime intros ever. Idol, Kickback, Specials, Hollow Hunger. I don't really like the song or the intro, but the Brave from Freerin, Tagatame is pretty unique. Again, I don't like it very much, but it is quite unique. Like, this is kind of a Mexican vibe to it. That is so bizarre. Kind of would like to see a bit of the battle.
Delay teleportation.
So you'll try hitting me with a spell. Let's see it then.
How does tech like this exist without
No
being
damage.
common?
I'll sever your limbs and grind you with my boot till you offer Lord Ainz a proper apology for your insolence.
Just what I'd expect from a genocidal butcher.
Oh, and here I
Damn.
was thinking you were some savage.
Your poisoned tongue is unbecoming of a prime minister, Albedo. Your invasion was never justified. You're the savages, using any excuse to slaughter people. No, you're worse than that.
Netanyahu!
You're monsters.
World isolation barrier.
Wait a minute. His HP dropped when he used that technique.
Huh. HP based skills, Persona
I'll
style?
forgive you for the surprise attack. No good?
Huh.
I need to
Where
move.
did this guy come
Greater
from?
Teleportation. Seems to be about level 90. A
Damn!
team specializes in hand-to-hand combat.
No, wait! No! I'm still talking!
Please, I beg of you, just a moment of your time. Come visit me whenever you please.
Why did he leave? Is it just because Albedo stepped in?
A pity.
Still, it's strange. The world isolation
Oh!
worked perfectly against the Sorcerer King, but Albedo seemed to break through it quite easily when she came to his aid. The only way she could have made it through was if she used wild magic or possessed a world item. Perhaps she's the player and he's the NPC.
Ha!
Could be enough to protect herself from enemies. I could not have accomplished what I did today without your help, and I can't defeat these evil players on my own. So please take care of yourself until next time.
Oh. Oh, that changes a lot. Yeah, so that confirms this and likely the woman he was talking to were not players in any regard, which explains why they knew about the world's history as if they had lived it. And he knows about the concept of Yggdrasil and the players in it. Ha! Oh, that's exciting. We're getting closer to some form of an answer for some of the things that have come up in this show. Even though it's the same voice as before, I just did not expect that. I didn't remember his voice that well. And the way he spoke about Albedo and Ainz, he was pretty certain that only one of them was the player. But he also referred to them as player and NPC. usually when someone refers to two separate groups, they're not a part of either group. So is he not an NPC? And if he wasn't, what is he? Not an admin or something, right? He's not connected to why Yggdrasil became this, is he? And from his dialogue, we can reasonably assume there were more players. Oh, I'm really glad we're getting back into this stuff, because the beginning of Season 2, I think, is still the part of this show that keeps it about its most interesting, because it makes it clear that the writer knows where he's going with stuff. Or if he's not, he is an idiot and sets up things that he has no explanation for, but I would imagine he actually knows where he's going with this stuff. And introducing this stuff so early on, I mean, I think there were 4 characters at the start of Season 2. One of them was part of the party that was against Shaltir. The rest of them had not shown up again for the rest of Season 2 or Season 3. This is the first time. They were referenced earlier with the Slain Theocracy talking about them, but this is the first time any of them have shown up again. And the dragon and the older lady in particular clearly knew more than almost anyone else in the entire story. Oh, things are getting interesting.
Perhaps it would be better to kill him and give his armor to a more capable and obedient ally.
And then that explains how some seemingly random dude got such advanced technological armor, and it explains that it's not a common thing. Okay. Still a little confused on why they wouldn't look more into that technology.
Outstanding work, Albedo. Pandora's actor.
Oh!
Truly, I am undeserving of such praise, my lord.
But I'd like to hear your impression of this Riku Arganea, since you interacted with him directly.
You motherfuckers! Fuck! Giving him internal monologues completely threw me off. But they were all in his Overlord voice. Please tell me at least that it was that. No, okay, it would have actually been him, because he lost interest. I was going to say, I hope it was still him with the prince last episode, but it would be, because he lost interest after that, after the prince was killed. Shit, that was really smart. And it was a very different set of tools than I feel like Ainz would normally have on him. Oh, fuck. That was really good. Had me completely fooled. I never think to take Pandora's actor into account because of how little he was used in the early seasons. He was introduced end of Season 1, I think, and then showed up like 5 times over the course of the next 2 seasons. And he was never used for anything substantial, really, but that was a really smart play on Ainz's part. Because if he fooled me, he definitely fooled the dragon. Because it tricks them into thinking Ainz is weaker than he actually is. Because I imagine Pandora's actor has a variety of skills or can mimic some of the skills of the person he's mimicking. I'm curious if Grasspart failed because he didn't have the skill or because it actually didn't work. Huh. I'm mad at myself for not expecting that.
So then I bowed down and said, please, I beg of you, just a moment of your time. And it worked splendidly. He stopped dead in his tracks.
And that would
May I
be
interject?
why that
What is it?
seems so bizarre
You are posing as Lord Ainz,
for the character of
Sorcerer King
Ainz to
and
do.
absolute ruler of the.
I don't suppose the real Lord Ainz would ever do such a thing.
No.
That felt
I think
so
that
off.
was a fine choice. If that's all it
But-
takes to make an enemy drop their guard, then feel
Yeah,
free
it
to
did
debase
work.
yourself all you like. Some of his powers are still a bit of a mystery to me.
Like the barrier, you mean?
Since Albedo was carrying
Fucking
immunity,
reality marble.
but the ability to strengthen weapons and armor, teleport, and create barriers, those abilities are far too different from one another. As things stand, we cannot say for certain that his skills are the work of a world item. It seems we need to lose another battle with this Riku fellow, if we want to find out. Naturally, I don't like losing either.
Using Pandora's actor, he creates the scenarios where he loses so he can learn from them. Oh my god, that's actually the smartest thing he's ever done. I love how the first half of the season had Ainz just being a constant dumbass. And in the second half, he's been a conniving Dark Lord. Some of these fights get more time in the opening than they do in the show.
You're so kind, Princess.
What the fuck was her deal with Albedo?
Our kingdom's on the brink of ruin, and feeding orphans is all I can do.
I've never been able to tell how much of this is a front.
No matter what happens,
You can have a nice chat with the princess in the meantime, okay? Oops, there's not enough.
Oh no, that won't do at all. Especially since we have someone who could, quote, chug the stuff by the gallon. People will
Subtle,
start
you
to think
guys.
The princess
Real,
can't even offer tea to her distinguished guests.
really subtle,
You're
everyone.
being rude, Blackuse. Your friends are only trying to buy us some time.
Hey, Brain.
Dumbass.
It's very bitter.
All right. Look at you. Not shaken up one bit.
I just had faith, or rather, I knew you wouldn't do something like this without a reason. On that note, can you
What
tell
is
me
the
why
fucking
Orphan
reason?
and mind-controlled your friend?
Our fiendish boss was the only one who wanted to protect the royal capital. The rest of our group was secretly against that plan.
But there was no point in arguing with her about it. She'd
Okay.
stay behind on her own.
As soon as Tina comes back, we'll teleport out of the capital. Do you two want to come with us?
Have
In
the
short,
civilians
someplace
evacuated?
far away that you've never heard of.
Have they even
that
been
so?
warned? Feel like that's a good way to lose your reputation
All right, it's time.
and get people
This
to
is
fucking
yours.
hate you,
I'll be heading out on my own.
including
To what
Lacuse. Lacuse is gonna
I'll hunt
fucking.
down the Sorcerer King and challenge him to a duel.
They did that to protect Lacuse, but the likelihood of her staying with the four of them after that is almost non-existent. And regardless of how strong she is, I feel like going off alone would not be good for her. That was a weird sequence. Lacuse is the one person in that group who hasn't received almost any screen time. It's kind of weird that that's the one that they focused that on. It's also weird that despite how little we've seen of her, we'd know that that was such a stupid move on their part. And again, are the civilians evacuating? Because you are one of the top adventuring parties. If you abandon a kingdom of it in its time of need and civilians die, everyone's gonna fucking know. And no one's gonna trust you again. Least of all in their time of need. That was a choice. Okay. Or a best girl, I guess. Because Evil Eye's apparently a fucking dumbass now. She had no control of her emotions earlier, but she wasn't stupid.
We've had some good times, Princess. And Climb. I still remember when I met you and Lord Sebas. It brought me back to life.
I want
This is
to...
probably our farewell. But hey,
I hope Brain lives for the sole purpose of having a scene where he learns that Sebas works for Ainz. Because, like, how does that change both Brain and Climb's perspective on not only Sebas, but kind of the general world? The most powerful man they've ever met serves this other guy who came out of fucking nowhere and destroyed an empire in the span of a month and a half, at most.
Either way, I don't think I'll have the chance to wield a sword ever again. All right, I need to make a few preparations. Then we'll see Father.
What is going on with her? Mother of God. I did not realize he was that strong. Okay. We've only seen him, like, fight as a warrior, really, in melee combat. We haven't never really seen that type of thing.
Hey guys! Nobody try to stop me, okay?
Is that a fucking T-Rex?
if I were the Sorcerer King, then where would I be? Seems they haven't started the attack yet.
Can you not hear the carnage?
Why not?
Even if he kills Kakaitis, like, that wouldn't affect anything. But the odds of that happening are, what, 1 in 2 billion? He can damage Shaltir, who's probably the strongest Floor Guardian, so... That's something at least. But I feel like the best he can hope for is like cutting off an arm.
Right up. No backing down now.
Well met, swordsman.
Okay, this is great.
Thank you for this.
He and Sebas are two of the only good things in the entirety of Nazarick. And even then, it's only partially good.
Nail Clipper!
Named the move after it.
I wasn't told that there were many men of merit left in this land. He might have become a great asset had he joined us. I must respect the resolve of a warrior the moment he draws his sword. I am certain that Lord Warrior Takami Kazuchi would accept my decision if he were here.
I had hoped for at least something, but guess it was a little too much. He didn't die a coward, though. Fuck. Shit, is Climb gonna die at the end of next season? They just keep going through them. Yeah, so now that I finished the season, I can say with absolute certainty, why the fuck is it this tone? This ending, why is it this tone? It's not like they're doing good things this season, or they're conquering something that's a threat to them. So why is it so hopeful and uplifting sounding? Damn. Curious what was up with the body preserving thing. I mean, there's a chance he might have been doing that because he considered the potential of resurrecting him later on, or asking Ainz to resurrect him later on or something, but I don't know. Maybe just preserve it so you can bury him later or something. I feel like we should have addressed a bit more that most of the city was evacuated prior to seeing the stuff we did with Blue Rose. I think that made them seem so uncaring for the suffering of hundreds of thousands. That wouldn't have been the case if we had already known people had evacuated or we had seen a large amount of evacuation that happened. I think even having been told it, I feel like I still don't really have a clear idea of how many people are left in the city, so it still feels like they abandoned like thousands upon thousands of people. Which, in a show where Ainz is the protagonist, maybe it's hypocritical of me to judge someone for that, but I don't know, that's kind of fucked up. Season finale. This season's been a bit of a downer, huh? Wonder how it's gonna end then. And then I think after finishing this, I'll watch the trailers for the movie. The movie is like over 2 hours long, right? I don't think it was over 2.5 hours, but like 2:10, 2:20 or something like that. That's pretty damn good for an animated movie, especially a show that's something that's mostly done with 2D animation. That's substantial. I mean, I think one of the longest 2D animation movies was Disappearance of Haruhi, and that was 2 hours 40 minutes, I think. And I mean, unlike some movies, like a lot of recap movies will generally be over 2 hours. From what I know, the Holy Kingdom movie is entirely original content. So, fingers crossed that shit looks great for the show. Because if they have the movie budget, then, I mean, they should have enough time and budget to make it look as good as possible for once. Which makes me hope that there's, like, going to be an actual fight scene in that. Shaltir and Ainz is still like one of the only things I would legitimately consider a real fight scene in this show. I do think, outside of the animation quality, I think the thing this show struggles most with is fights, because I think even ones that are legitimate fights between relative equal opponents, like fights between side characters and the villains of an arc or something, there's so much dialogue and it bogs it down incredibly. And the pacing of the fights just isn't impressive. The choreography is like, even in the fights where it's like two people fighting equally, it's like 3 hits. That's the entire fight. Almost nothing happens in the actual fight. The fact that Riku versus Pandora's Actor is literally one of the longest fights in the show with the most variety of attack says a fucking lot. And you could argue that the fights aren't what it's about, but I would say compare it to Frieren. That's not about fights either, not by a long shot. It's about the adventure, it's about the emotion, it's about the characters. Doesn't matter. The final fight of that show is still one of the most visually impressive things I have ever seen. And it's, like, decently long, too. Despite the animation being, like, leagues and leagues better than this entire show. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Madhouse is the animation studio, not the producer, right? And it does Freerun and this show, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what I was always led to believe. How the fuck? Side note, Freerun Season 2, let's go!
Even if I cause a big earthquake, some people might live through it. But if I try to burn the city, people will start to run and some of them might get away.
It's weird to see someone crying over not being able to kill effectively enough.
I can do this! I'll turn the capital into rubble and slaughter every single person in it! Burn, smash, kill! Burn, smash, kill! Burn, smash, kill!
Something so disturbing shouldn't be so goddamn funny. Especially when Mare is in a constant state of almost being upskirted.
We'll get a little revenge against the Sorcerer Kingdom.
That sounds legitimate, which is throwing me off, but I was just about to ask, is she staying so that Climb will stay, so that Climb will be heavily injured? Because, Jesus Christ, girl, you got fucking problems.
Take Renair and escape from here. There is a secret passage. Take it and it will lead you outside the city.
She's not
That's
gonna like
your last
that.
chance to live. Please, hurry.
There's no need for that. Don't listen to him.
Uh-huh. Something I just kind of put together. This fucking cat. Just get in the box. There's a box right there. Just hop into it for fuck's sake. There is a box right there. Why are you rubbing up against my computer? You fucking asshole. Stares at the box, turns around, comes right back, and starts pushing his face into my hand. Great. Okay. Thing I was going to say was that I find it kind of amusing that the noble that they set up as the one they'd used to cause discord in the kingdom, who ended up attacking them, allowing them to have an excuse to go after the kingdom, that noble has not shown up once. Hey, he got in the box. I find it very entertaining. They blame this thing, which is entirely blamable, and that one guy has not shown up a single time since he started planning to do that thing to their caravans. It's almost like they didn't actually care about getting after him and just wanted to take over and destroy the kingdom. Funny how that works.
Will you take my daughter and escape this land? I offer you her hand in marriage.
You flatter me with such a fine reward. But I must decline.
Can we get to my plan, please?
Fuck's sake.
Yes, of course. I almost forgot.
I
have nothing left to lose, after all.
I've tried to defend that boy before in various comment sections and stuff, but God, that man is just a fucking simp.
We'll tell him we've hidden our treasures, the symbols of this kingdom itself. And if he reduces the capital to rubble, then the trophies of his conquest will be lost.
I'll come back as soon as I can.
The kingdom is depending on you.
What the fuck is she doing? I can't grasp what could possibly be going through her head.
Not on my life. Now, my name is...
I'm on a tight deadline. Why can't anybody respect that?
I was gonna ask if dual wielding katanas was
You guys can kill him now.
what was like an actual thing. Oh! I'm not surprised it happened. I'm surprised how fast it happened. That was way more sudden than this show would usually do.
If you don't hurry up, I'm going to end up killing you once I start casting spells. Once you're done, you have to come back to me safely.
Did she sacrifice the entire kingdom for Climb? Was that her deal?
You must show reverence toward Lord Ainz. Prostrate yourself.
What was the deal she made?
Climb!
Was part of the deal to...
If this was a fairy tale, the strength
injure
of
him
your
beyond
pure
belief.
heart would empower you to vanquish me, and love would triumph over my perceived wickedness. But this is
You
reality.
called yourself the villain!
Unfortunately, no such miracle will happen.
How is it perceived?
When I'm playing the villain, I have standards to uphold, and love would triumph over my perceived wickedness.
Was the deal to kill him and resurrect him so that he'd be weakened and then not be able to do anything ever again? That might be the most likely. Probably all it took was her pledging her servitude and consigning the entire kingdom to their conquest. And guaranteeing the royal items and such. Fuck. This entire conflict is happening so much earlier than I thought it would. I'm honestly a little bit thrown off.
There is only one truly fair thing in this unfair world, and that is my mercy as the Overlord of Death.
I don't care! I am Princess Renaer's shield!
You have a splendid fire in your eyes. Pick it up.
They reached a point with the season where I expected Brain to die. I'm still not expecting Climb to die. But also this is Overlord, and I don't know how they're gonna go with it.
Grasp forward.
Fuck. Seriously?
You're awake.
Uh-huh.
Princess.
I'm safe.
Resurrect him to permanently ruin his body.
You noticed my wings. The Sorcerer King used his powers to change me into this. I'm afraid that I'm no longer human. I'm a demon. I know it's shameful of me. Unlike a human, I'll live for eternity. I'll be left all alone. Please, Climb. Stay with me. Become a demon like I did. He did it as a personal favor because I pledged my allegiance to him.
Yeah.
Can you do that? And I apologize, I should have thanked you sooner. It's gone so quickly I forgot my manners. Thank you for preparing the poison and playing along with my charade in the throne room. The Sorcerer King has been most generous in his support of my proposals.
The poison?
I'm undeserving of such mercy.
The plan to destroy the kingdom was almost entirely yours after all, and you played your part well.
Oh my god!
Love, you've proven yourself plenty. Just keep up the good work, and I'm sure you'll make a fine addition as my subordinate. Lord Ainz must think you have great potential, seeing how much trouble he went to. You're starting out with a debt to pay.
Yeah, no kidding he sees potential in you. He has never actually recruited anyone before. He's asked people, sure, but he knew the answer long before he asked them. And he very easily could have forced them into submission in some way. This is the first person he's ever taken on solely because of how evil they are. Fuck me. This is so fucked up. Jesus Christ. How does this story play out then? The most coherent way would be that somehow Climb got strong enough to defeat Ainz in some context. That's kind of the only detail of it that I would understand and expect to have happen. But I find it extremely hard to believe that this show just ends with Ainz ruling the world. Like, I find it very hard to believe that after all of this, he just wins. That wouldn't be very satisfying as a narrative. I find him an interesting character, but he's such a horrible person that seeing him win is really unpleasant, and that's all he does. So if the entire show is that, I'm sorry, but in the end, I'm gonna say this would be like a 6 out of 10 at best. And that's if it was animated well. That would not make for a compelling story in the long run. Part of what's compelling about this is seeing how everyone responds to him and how they're trying to handle his existence. If it ends with them just all failing the exact same fucking way, that's not interesting. I'm also... I have to admit, I'm thrown off by Renaer. Yes, she discussed her plan in Season 2 where Climb gets so injured that he has to rely on her for the rest of his life. The yandere part of her character it never came across as just her, like, being a genocidal maniac. It came off as her being willing to hurt pretty much anyone who got in the way of Climb's life continuing to, be a thing. But when she made this deal with Albedo, there were only plans to invade and take over. There weren't plans to destroy it. That plan came into play in like episode 8, 9, probably 8, maybe 7. So prior, the plan was just to invade. And if that was the case, she wouldn't have needed to make a deal like this and put all this planning into making sure everyone else dies. I mean, like, maybe killing the king for Ainz, getting the royal treasure and stuff, but preventing the entire city from evacuating is a fucking choice. Or just, not preventing, but not having them evacuate. I also... Blue Rose should have been aware of her plan. I think that makes their actions make way more sense, but they came off as just seeing that this was a losing battle and giving up. If they knew that she was doing this, that would have made more sense as to why they would go to such drastic measures just to leave. And 2 are literally ninjas. It's not like they couldn't have known. I think I was on board up to here. I think at this point, this entire story comes across as just an evil guy bouncing between being super chill and being incredibly evil and conquering and enslaving and murdering his way to victory, while then turning around and being all kind and nice and willing to engage in politics. This is the problem I was talking about earlier in the season with the dwarves. Ainz acting like this is so bizarre now. Because now he's clearly just bouncing back and forth. Because it's not like he just destroyed this kingdom. He had a reason to destroy this kingdom. However, he already planned to invade it prior to that. And conquer it prior to that. With the dwarves, he was just chill about it. I don't understand the difference. I've mentioned before that I found the switch into the political element of this show more interesting. That's partly because I want to see the other side, the other characters who build up to the point where they defeat Ainz. Like, if this entire show is just him conquering things, that's going to get tiring and boring and just feel lazy. It stops being interesting after a while. It stops being engaging. It stops being good after a while. Because it's just the same thing over and over again. And when it's all this easy, it ends up feeling like you wasted so much time on things that never mattered in the first place. And at this point, yeah, I'll say that about the Lizardman arc too. And when I first watched Season 2, I enjoyed that because it felt like we were getting the other side of the conflict. And by building up their storyline, we see how evil Ainz is and Nazarick is. And then we want to see them lose more, all while building up a cast of characters who hold animosity towards them in some regard. When all of those groups that hold animosity are defeated with complete and utter ease, if we know Ainz can beat them with ease, that's an entirely different story. When he starts beating all of them with ease, that becomes boring. Because it means that there's no point to this scheming about how to defeat him because they lost anyway. Everything that happened in this season could have probably been condensed into Season 3, which probably could have been condensed into Season 2. Because at the end of the day, we didn't need the other side of this to any degree. In the end, it adds nothing. The princess was the only one in this entire thing that was ever relevant. And with Ainz and Nazarick just invading and conquering anyway, instead of the political scheming they started out doing, like, there was no point to any of it, because they could have just walked in and done that at any time. It's the same with the Lizardmen. It was like 6 episodes of him posturing, which could have been condensed into 1. If the Lizardmen were going to be relevant later, like, sure, develop that. If this stuff was going to be relevant later, sure, develop that. If Brain and Gazef's storylines were going to be continued by someone else later, sure, develop that. Almost every single connection to the Riestes storyline is now gone. Straight up. The city is destroyed and conquered. The king is dead. The prince is dead. Marquis Raven is seemingly gone from the story forever. Climb is probably going to be a vegetable for the rest of his life. a large amount of time in the last 2 seasons, in the last 3 seasons, I guess, were dedicated to the storyline of all the characters in the Riestes Kingdom. All of that has amounted to nothing. And none of the characters that remain can carry on that storyline. It makes it completely meaningless. It's just the same thing for 3 seasons now. I changed my tune on this season real fucking quick, didn't I?
Oh, Climb. I hope you're ready for an eternity of happiness by my side. We should celebrate, shouldn't we? If I were to share my first time with you, how would you like that? Oh, but it's too early. I have to build your anticipation a bit, after all.
This is weird. This feels so random and stupid. Okay. You know what my problem is? They never showed that she dealt with a maid who insulted Climb. She did not just fucking have people murdered for the sole purpose of getting closer to her goal. This feels like a jump for her character because she went from, I want to hurt Climb so he'll be dependent on me forever, to, I will fucking burn down an entire kingdom, kill my own father, send both of my brothers to their deaths, and damn an entire population to become a demon so that I can be with Climb for eternity. That's a bit of a jump.
After reading over Sebas's findings, there is one place I would like to see.
Is that you, Climb? Please come in.
I'm sorry for being gone so long, Princess.
I was terribly worried.
You're aware that our beloved older brother is also taking money from Eight Fingers, right?
Not Brother Barbaro.
This could be our opportunity to depose him. We should definitely consider including his drug division stronghold in your plan of attack.
Taking out 8 targets is obviously
What I'm
better
about
than
to tell
7.
you is a matter of great importance. Killing this person is strictly forbidden. Understood, Shaltir.
Oh, ha ha! Poke fun at the vampire, why don't you, jerk?
It appears we now have one more Eight Fingers base to attack tonight. Mare, you and Intima will focus on the new location.
Insolent ant! I refuse to let a measly human escape from me unharmed.
Is that?
Princess Renair has requested that I go into battle without changing my armor.
Hey, is anyone there?
If you're going to do a Fight Club flashback, actually do it. Don't just lift scenes from earlier in the show and paste them together in the order that makes it clear what's going on. Actually just fucking show the actual things. You couldn't have reanimated the scene to show Climb in that. Like, seriously? You couldn't have animated it so that Demiurge was actually going to meet and talk with Renair. You couldn't have shown their meeting. I don't think I've changed my tune on a show this quick with any of the others. Like, with Mushoku Tensei, I went into it with low expectations, and they just kind of kept going lower over the course of the show. And even in the end, my opinion of it only rose marginally, and all of my problems with the earlier episodes still remained. With My Hero Season 7, there was a bit more of a catalyst for my change in opinion with that one, but that was pretty sudden, I guess, if you watch them all back to back. But it's just so boring now. Like, oh, I wonder what's going to happen to this guy. I wonder if he's going to die or something. I wonder if that's something I've been expecting for the past 5 episodes or something. We're not at the point where the characters we've been following for the last 3 seasons are almost all dead. In terms of ones who can oppose Ainz, like Zherknev is the only one that still exists, and he's existed for a season and a half now. And honestly, I don't know if we're going to be seeing more of him. He's now completely subservient in a vassal state. So I honestly don't even know if we're going to see more of him. Like, we're at the point where the only opposition that exists is opposition we have almost no context for yet. Like, Gazef was introduced in Season 1. Then in Season 2, we got characters who are connected to him. So when he dies in Season 3, others can carry on his plotline. Now everyone surrounding that plotline has fucking died, and Climb is a vegetable. So he may as well have died in terms of his narrative importance, because he can't do anything now. So forgive me for being a little critical of the story that I've been following for 4 seasons now, when an entire plotline is made completely irrelevant in a single episode.
He wanted to make sure you suffered as much as his people did, and more. I have every intent to honor his dying wish.
We will destroy the remaining noble fiefs, then return home.
It's pronounced
in the
fief.
Meantime, nothing remains of the capital. With that in mind...
Why is this the ending theme? Sorry.
Of course, as you wish.
This character is the only one still relevant to the Orestes Kingdom.
I am thoroughly satisfied with this result.
I'm left completely fucking bored. When I saw a similar thing with this type of wording, in My Hero, they have a very similar thing where one of the episodes ended with, and the final act begins, or something like that. I remember thinking, there is no way we're near the end of this story. And lo and behold, the story didn't end well. With this, I'm actually kind of glad. Because at this point, an overwhelming amount of the story up to this point now feels like filler. Because any development given to almost any fucking character in the Orestes Kingdom is completely irrelevant. Fuck it, I'm spoiling myself. Hey, look at that. The last time Climb has been mentioned in the story was this arc! Let me just see how many volumes we've gotten since now. Or since that one. Okay, that was volume 14, we've gotten volume 15, we've gotten volume 16. Okay, so there's been 2 volumes since then, and he has not been fucking mentioned once in them. That's really cool. I really like that. Okay, so 4 volumes remain. And remain to adapt. And in half of them, Climb is not mentioned. Who wants to bet Renaer isn't either? Hey, look at that! The last canon arc she's mentioned in, or her story is referenced in, is, interesting. Truly fascinating. I genuinely think that killed a lot of my interest in this story. Japanese media trying to have the most unsatisfying fucking endings in the world. Challenge level impossible. I think I can name on one hand the amount of anime I've seen that have a full concrete ending in which that ending has left me satisfied. Okay, no, it's at least 6 actually. Your Lie in April, Anohana, Madoka Magica, Code Geass, Monogatari, Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. So we got at least 6. That's really great. That's great. All right, and Jerk Neve has been barely relevant in a prologue arc, and he was only mentioned through the internal musings of other characters in another arc. So, yeah. For Jerk Neve, Climb, and Renaer, there are 2 arcs that remain for them to be relevant in. The fact that it's ending so soon makes me pretty fucking certain that nothing will actually stand in the way of Ainz, and he'll just get everything he wants in the end. Oh my god! In the beginning, the author mentioned he had around 50 volumes worth of notes, but it probably wouldn't be half of that since stuff gets cut out when writing. So he dropped down to 25. In another interview, he was thinking about 25 volumes, but later he changed it to 20 after he started releasing a bunch of side stories. Then he cut it down to 18 because he wanted to reduce it more because he kept doing side stories. Okay. So the author is ending it because he doesn't want to write more of the story. He He doesn't want to do anything with this world that he's set up and these characters he's created, and he doesn't want to give them any respect at all. That's cool. That's, God fucking damn it. Out of the shows I have now reacted to, we got Mushoku Tensei, Overlord, more Mushoku Tensei, Jujutsu Kaisen, My Hero Academia. To some degree, I'm thinking this with Chainsaw Man and Oshi no Ko as well. But that's already 4 different shows and many hours that I have spent watching shows that have been pissing me the hell off. You know it's bad when in terms of story quality, I would say that Demon Slayer is one of the highlights of what I've been reacting to. As a first season, Chainsaw Man was alright, but if they want me to believe that it's as peak as everyone says it is, then they need to do a lot better in season 2 and forward. Frieren, by far, is the best thing that I've watched. And that's coming from someone who wouldn't consider that a 10 out of 10 show. So I'm getting a little annoyed with how unsatisfied I'm feeling with a lot of these shows. So jumping into My Hero Season 7 next probably won't help anything with that, because I'm already mad about that. And I've got like 6 episodes to catch up on. So, just came out of the Sacred Kingdom movie, and recording just some quick thoughts on my phone. 1, the animation is easily the best Overlord's ever had, even the 3D looked good. Honestly, I think this... I got pretty annoyed at this show at the end of Season 4. I think this reignited the passion I had for it. This was quite good. I think Baraha and Custodio, I think was her name, were both pretty solid additions to the major supporting cast. I think Baraha being portrayed as kind of unstable helped. And it's kind of interesting to have someone with a floor guard mentality who's not part of Nazarick and is just that way because of their own personal morals and ideals. Granted, I'd kind of prefer to have an inverse of that, where someone in Nazarick doesn't have the same morals and ideals as Ainz. I think that would cause more interesting writing to happen, but whatever. I was also expecting a lot more Demiurge than we got. He wasn't actually there much. Oh, right, and it's either Custodia or Custodio. I can't quite remember. I never got it for certain. She's kind of frustrating, but I also like her a lot because she's like one of the only characters who actively hates Ainz and doesn't hide it. A lot of people try to work against him, but they don't actively hate him as a person. She actively hates him as a person. And while she does somewhat hide it while in front of him, she doesn't do it a whole lot. And I kind of like that. On top of her being one of the most smart characters in the entire show who actually understands exactly what Ainz is doing and not overestimating or underestimating him in terms of his intelligence. She's the only one who's ever actually figured him out on a real level. And I'm curious where they're going with her, because I can't imagine that ends well. I imagine Season 5 or another movie will finish up the storyline with the Sacred Kingdom. I don't know how much it's going to be relevant going forward, but I've enjoyed it so far. Hopefully it's not completely irrelevant like Riestes. But yeah, I mean, after Season 4, I was not quite looking forward to this, but after watching this, I think I'm back on board with this show. And I don't think quite as much as I was when I was getting into Season 4 a lot. I think a lot of its basic ideas just still aren't working for me, and the fact that it's ending soon is not helping. That author clearly did not care much about providing a good story. With My Hero and stuff like that, I get it. That is a very long story that they've created, but Overlord is very short, and the author is already kind of giving up on it. That's just kind of frustrating to me, because there's a lot of potential for this, and he's just never taking it when he's given an opportunity. But I did quite enjoy this. It's weird to have this show have decent animation and actual fight scenes of any kind, but yeah, that's some of my basic thoughts on it. Curious if Season 5 is going to come out anytime soon, or if they're going to do it as a movie duology.